We like to imagine that, with our devices and innovative miracles, we're truly far cutting edge contrasted with where we were a couple of years prior. Notwithstanding, as you're going to see, a great deal of things that we underestimate aren't generally that new, all things considered. For example, consider 10. The term bug. Bug in 1947, noted PC researcher Grace Hopper found a dead moth caught in a handoff having a place with the as-of-late fabricated Harvard Mark II electromechanical PC. On finding the bug, it was evacuated and taped into a flaw logbook, where a remark composed underneath commented this was the principal genuine instance of bug being found. Numerous individuals accept that this account speaks to the principal utilization of the term bug to depict an issue with a bit of PC equipment or software, but we realize that the word was first utilized corresponding to innovation in the later long stretches of the 19th century. In one occurrence, mechanical illuminating presence and liar, Thomas Edison portrayed in a 1878 letter to a companion that bugs were little blames and challenges, though a later use showed up in the 1896 course book, Hawkins' New Catechism of Electricity, where the term is applied as signifying any deficiency or inconvenience in the associations or working of electric device. Without a doubt, the term was certainly in like manner used 2 years before the moth episode, as an audit in a 1945 issue of Billboard magazine portrayed that concerning the item being assessed, there are as yet various bugs to shake out, yet on the off chance that we were a support, we'd get it fast. Point 9. Selected browsers. Hyperde's authoring for an exhibit of what selected perusing is. Take a gander at top of this site page. A selected program permits web clients to have numerous website pages open simultaneously and peruse between them without the should be continually limiting and boosting them. It most is of late shot to unmistakable quality with its utilization in Internet Explorer 7, discharged in 2006, a component which before long got on among the other Internet browsers. Entertainingly, in early press inclusion, Microsoft had the boldness to hail this as a progressive element of IE7, hilarious on the grounds that the primary use of tabs in a PC program occurred in 1988 with the Unipress Gosling Emacs Content Manager. Obviously, the two aren't totally indistinguishable. In IE7, the tabs are connected by an even bar, for example, yet the likenesses are striking. The first selected Internet browser didn't come to fruition until the dispatch of the InternetWorks program in 1994. This program could bolster up to 4 separate website pages. In any case, dissimilar to IE7, they were shown all the while in a 2x2 arrangement. Following this, selected programs got standard until 2003, until they mysteriously vanished from the market. That is, until Microsoft created them 3 years after the fact, obviously. 8. PC viruses. Nary has a month passed by without finding out about how a PC infection has stored untold wretchedness upon a large number of PC proprietors everywhere throughout the world. Clearly, infections are a cutting-edge wonder. However, isn't that so? All things considered, the web was at first evolved as an instrument for the logical and military networks, and those callings barely appear the sort to raise damaging hackers, destructive programmers, no. Pranksters? For reasons unknown, yes. In 1971, an infection known as Creeper tainted the forerunner of the web, ARPANET. Its aim? As per its maker, Bob Thomas, it was to demonstrate to uninformed fat cats that the production of such a conceivably vindictive program was conceivable. It fundamentally contaminated PCs running the Tenix working framework, all in a way indistinguishable from oneself, imitating infections that are common all through the web today. When contaminated, the PC would then show the message, "I'm the creeper, get me on the off chance that you can." After the fat cats got the message, in any case, it was the ideal opportunity for the creeper to bite the dust. What's more, on account of the world's first enemy of infection program, known as Reaper, it did. Point 7. Publicizing spam. It's not a modest representation of the truth to state that spam is the worst thing about each individual who possesses an email account. All things considered, you'd imagine that on the off chance that somebody was in the market to purchase fake medication or penis augmentation siphons, their first port of call wouldn't be an unknown, ineffectively worded email from some remote of the world. Not really. Enough individuals are clearly purchasing the stuff they're selling, or, more than likely spam wouldn't liken for almost 78% of all emails sent. If you're searching for somebody to fault for this marvel, at that point attempt Maurice and Arnold Gabriel, two dental specialists who, in 1864, sent several undesirable wires to individuals all over London publicising their administrations. The messages, which read, Messrs. Gabriel, Dental Specialists, Harley Road, Cavendish Square. Until October, Messrs. Gabriel's expert participation at 27, Harley Street, will be 10 till 5 inches, rankled innumerable lawmakers and aristocrats whom had the messages conveyed to them in the night. By method of vengeance, they disgraced the dental specialists by distributing the message in the Times, which gave them more exposure than they ever have envisioned conceivable. 6. Web-based dating. Online dating is without a doubt one of the most mainstream exercises on the web, as proved by the monstrous development of sites, for example, Match.com, eHarmony, and OkCupid. By November 2004, there are 844 dating sites, a monstrous number. Thinking about that, moderately, the web wasn't accessible to by far most of individuals. Just as assisting the lifespan of humankind is anything but a terrible cash spinner either. Figures from 2008 show web-based dating administrations acquired $957 million in income, a figure that had expanded to over £2 billion by 2012. Those figures subsequently make it straightforward why individuals have been utilizing machines to help sort out their adoration lives since 1957. It was in this year that regarded relationship analyst George Crane set up the Logical Marriage Foundation, a matchmaking agency. During the application procedure, male and female candidates were approached to finish structures itemizing their physical attributes, occupation, and political, strict suppositions, and to give 2 letters of suggestion from key citizenry, for example specialists, clergymen, to vouch for their character. After this, Crane connected the outcomes from the structures to an IBM arranging machine, which at that point matched planned couples together and, as indicated by the foundation, made 5,000 relationships through the span of 3 years. 5. Nigerian prince scams. Nigerians scam too. Speaking of spam, this is likely one of the most celebrated sorts and, tragically, one of the best. On the off chance that you've had the karma of keeping away from these, it's somewhat easy to clarify. An individual will get an email from somebody indicating to be an individual from some remote eminence who needs assistance carrying an immense fortune out of their nation, frequently, Nigeria, consequently the name. As a byproduct of helping them, the beneficiary will get a gigantic cut of the returns, for which they should simply send the imperial their bank subtleties. You can think about how the rest goes. Well, in the event that it causes anybody to feel better, individuals have been pulling this con since the 16th century. Entitled the Spanish Prisoner Letter Scam, rich individuals would get letters from inaccessible and clearly rich family members requesting that they pay their bail as an end result of a cut of the riches that the detainee has. Anyone who reacted would then get an ever-increasing number of letters requesting increasingly more cash, until the casualty was in the long run bankrupted by the rascals. Truth be told, it was such a productive trick, that the United States Postal Service really needed to give rules for postmasters to empower them to perceive the letters, in case the whole nation get bulldozed. 4. Content speak. Zimmerman Telegram coded message 631 if UDNT no WHTTXTSPK is THNTHSSNTNCMSTBNRIMPSSB4U2 understand. In the event that you do, THN congratulations. Thusly of talking usually alluded to as content talk first came into use during the cell phone time as a path for youths to send longer, but harder to peruse, writings to one another. Notwithstanding, with the moderate destruction of messaging, content talk currently shapes a significant piece of web slang. However, before the entirety of this, a language intently looking like content talk was being utilized preceding 1890 by exhausted wire administrators everywhere throughout the world to visit with one another. For example, to pose the inquiry, "How are you?" toward the beginning of today, an administrator would state, "How are you tsmng," to which he would almost certainly get the answer, "I'm Ty WL, HWRU, I'm Bounty well, how are you?" In the meantime, rather than utilizing lol to demonstrate chuckling, you would state, "Ha, long pause, ha, long pause, ha. WTF, indeed. 3. Gmail. Garfield Mail typing gmail.com into your location bar will undoubtedly raise just a single thing. Google Mail, also called Gmail. Established in 2004, however not opened up the overall population till 2007, it has since become the world's greatest email administration with more than 425 million clients around the world, contrasted with just 360 million for Hotmail. Fascinating certainty, Gmail was first declared on April 1, 2004 and obviously, individuals confused it with an April morons joke, exclusively in light of the fact that Google promoted it as having a 1 GB letterbox, a figure unbelievable at that point. For the good of comparison, Yahoo was offering 4 MB of capacity and Hotmail 2 MB. However, if before 2004 you scanned for gmail.com, you wouldn't discover the email supplier that we know and love today. Truth be told, from 1995 till 2004, that web address was possessed by the organization behind Garfield for its Garfield Mail administration, thus, Gmail. Shockingly, no screen captures get by of this, yet from what individuals portray, it was only a straightforward messaging framework, but one with pictures of Garfield tossed everywhere. Point 2. Person-to-person communication. Colleagues social statistically talking, 99% of the individuals who will peruse this sentence have an online networking record of some depiction. Regardless of whether it's a Facebook that they use to visit with their companions, a Twitter that they use to converse with big names or misuse them as a rule, or a MySpace that they plug their band's music with, long-range interpersonal communication destinations have assumed an urgent job in a great many people's lives since the time the dispatch of Friendster in 2002, which many view similar to the principal social network. It's simply really awful then that they're off base. In 1995, from his storm cellar, Randy Conrad's propelled Classmates.com, a site which individuals could use to connect up with outdated companions without bearing the ungainliness and drudgery of the conventional secondary school get-together. Not at all like Facebook, yet, clients paid a little enrollment expense, which permitted them to send messages, make and join gatherings, and view different clients' profiles, which included substance like photographs, courses of events, interests. The web page was generally fruitful for an age where moderately barely any individuals had web, and as per the website, came about in more than 100 relationships. The site even still lives on today, but under the name of Memory Lane. Point 1. DDoS attacks. Anonymous 1. You'd be excused for believing that DDoS, distributed denial of service, assaults had supplanted fights, petitions, and emphatic letters as the instruments of the abused and miserable. The point of a DDoS assault is to flood a focused on-site with guests, up till where the site overburdens and crashes. Prominent casualties of DDoS assaults incorporate North Korea, the Tunisian government, the U.S. Department of Justice, the Motion Picture Association of America, just as other enemy of theft gatherings, the UK's Serious Organised Crime Agency, and News International. In fact, the programmer bunch Anonymous as of late approached the White House to recognize DDoSing as a real type of protest. However, when what might be compared to this, known as dark faxing, was first presented, its goals were less respectable than toppling a fascism or correcting a social wrong. Pranksters would send their casualties, regularly fax telemarketers, a fax comprising of tons of dark paper, a usual way of doing things that was terribly basic, yet devastatingly successful. At the point when the fax was gotten by the beneficiary's machine, it would utilize immense amounts of then costly dark ink and printing paper. Just as this current beneficiary's telephone lines would be rendered pointless while the fax was being transmitted to them.